After the death of one spouse, loneliness may creep in if a woman or a man is not careful. There are, however, two ways to deal with the issue of loneliness during widowhood. The first one is what God suggested himself. He said in the book of 1 Corinthians 7, verses 8 to 9. God encouraged young widows to remarry if they cannot stay alone. So the first way to manage your emotions as a young widow is to think of remarriage. However, I always tell young widows, before you venture into another marriage, pray seriously about it. Don't jump into it by what you feel, they lost your feeling or something you have seen in another person. No. Pray seriously. Ask God to direct you to that your new life partner. Because actually, marriage is till death do part. So if a husband dies or a wife dies and the spouse that is left behind decides to remarry, there is nothing wrong there. However, as I said, please pray seriously so that you will not make mistakes. And when you find the person you want to remarry, let both of you sit down and look at what is in it for both of you, what both of you stand to offer, and what both of you stand to gain from the relationship, so that it will not be one-sided. It will not tilt towards one side. And if you already have children, please give it a serious thought. And when you meet your would-be partner, let both of you discuss, at length, what happens to the children from either side. If both of you have children, or if it's only one partner that has children, what happens to them? How do we cater for them? How do we care for them? It's very, very important, so that before you venture into any new marriage, you would have really given it a serious thought and have prayed over it. That's the first one. Then number two, you turn your loneliness into aloneness or solitude. You can actually be in a crowd and still be lonely. So it is not only a widow or a widower that feels lonely. No, even young people feel lonely. So what you need to do actually is to turn your loneliness into aloneness or solitude. That is being creative about it. And that is why May Saturn says that loneliness is the poverty of self, while solitude is the richness of self. Because in solitude, you discover your creative abilities. Most people that invent things or write poems or write books actually do so in a quiet moment of their life when their creative nature will be at work. So, as a young widow, what you need to do is not to look at the negative, which is loneliness, but look at the positive, which is aloneness. And when you see it as aloneness, when you see it as solitude, you find out that you begin to be positive about it. And as Maxwell Maltz says, the problem of loneliness is not actually being alone, but it's feeling alone. When you begin to feel, oh, I'm all alone, I'm left alone, my husband left me in this evil world to suffer alone, you begin to see negative, bad things out of it. No. It will get you into problem health-wise. So there are a lot of things you can do. If you have decided, if you have chosen to, okay, I don't want to remarry, I want to stay alone, I want to stay with my kids, I want to manage my life from now henceforth, and then live my life as a single person, there are a lot of things you can venture into to keep yourself busy. Number one, develop your spirituality. I've said that before. You need to hold on to God, because As the Bible says, he is now your husband. So hold on to him. And, fill your moments, your day, as you wake up from morning, afternoon, night, with the presence of God. You see, you can't be alone because you can't be lonely, because one with God is majority. And you can never have God and be lonely. It's not possible, because he will fill that vacuum. He will fill that space in your life. The number 2 thing you can do is to become creative. You can write books, you can write poems, you can write songs, you can join a band and sing, you can learn how to sew, you can learn how to bake. There are a lot of things you can actually become creative about. Your aloneness will help you to discover things you could do that you never knew before that you could do. So you venture into those things. Then number 3, develop a hobby. It may be volleyball, handball, exercise. Develop a hobby, something that makes you happy. Like volunteering. You can try to volunteer in your local community. You can try to volunteer in your church. You can try to volunteer. By the time you keep busy, you will find out that you won't even notice that you are lonely at all. And then another thing you need to do is, if you have grandchildren already, you can opt to take care of them for your son or for your daughter while they're at work. That keeps you busy, But you hear most widows complain that most of the time their loneliness comes in the night. It's quite understandable when everybody, has gone to their home and you are all alone in the room, lying alone. I always encourage women, look for good music. Not 1, not 2, music that have meaning, that connects you to meaning, the essence of life. Listen to such music. Listen to talks. Read books, different books, as many as you can, if you're literate enough to read books. If you're not, listen to music. And then try as much as possible to do things you can and leave the ones you can't. This is not a period to begin to blame yourself or blame others, or because it is when you begin to think like that you see yourself coming up with negative thoughts and negative things. So this journey is a journey. And for some people, it will be a very long journey. So what will make it easy for you is the kind of attitude you develop towards it. Welcome the journey. God has trusted it on us, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just open your arms and welcome it, and then embrace it. Just as George Kaitholil said, embrace it, and don't rush. Don't be in a hurry. Whatsoever decision you're going to make concerning your staying alone, don't be in a hurry. And above all, lay it in the hands of God. And whatever decision you're taking, whether you want to remarry or you want to stay for your children and manage your life, lay it onto the hands of God. And He will give you the best for you as His child and as His wife. Remember, God is your husband now. May God bless you.